Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am tasked to tell my story. And where did you get my picture? That was taken right after Yolanda. Um, my name is Sandy Javier. I ran for mayor to give back because I found out that my town was so poor. And this was a way of giving back. And not knowing that I would play a major part in this Yolanda episode. So I was in Manila at the time when we monitored, because of Andox, we monitor typhoons or changes in weather so that we could put down our signages, which will create a lot of damage if we don't put them down. So when I saw the magnitude of the typhoon, I said, "Oh my God, this is the first time I saw this kind of typhoon, and it's going to hit us directly." And this was about 4 days, 3 days, 4 days before the Yolanda actually hit Leyte. So I said to my children, I said, "Michael and Mark, please come with me. Let us face Yolanda. This is not going to be a joke. So you come with me because I might need your strength. I am not very young anymore." So we set out to Leyte, and before I left Leyte, I called up ABS-CBN, asked them for relief goods, and I sent 2 huge trucks of relief for our town just in case we would need it. So we were already thinking ahead. And so the trucks went, and gratefully we were given, we received the goods, and they're on their way to Leyte. So we set forth, we went to Leyte, and we started preparing everybody. So during the pre-disaster, we had to get the information, and we monitored the Typhoon Yolanda, and we were praying that it will go up, because usually the typhoon always goes up. But this time, he was or she was very, very hard-headed. He wanted to hit us right in the solar plexus. So it was going to hit Leyte, and it was going to hit my town directly. So we requested 2 truckloads of food packs. Emergency coordination with the barangay officials was made. And we made an inventory of the evacuation centers, and we mobilized the evacuees. We wanted to prepare everybody just in case there was going to be food distribution. So we already set out our mechanisms for relief distribution. We attended on Thursday evening. I attended the Provincial Disaster Risk Management Council with Secretary Marojas, Bolts Casmin, and of course our very own Governor Mick Petilla, and other local national officials. And the governor and myself, we coordinated, and we were going to communicate to the other mayors that this disaster should be taken very, very seriously, and that we were going to board up our heavy equipment, since I had heavy equipment in my town, and he had his provincial equipment in Palo. So we were going to meet halfway after the disaster. And so we would meet halfway. And then that night, we implemented forced evacuation, because everybody was already in the evacuation center. But there are so many people who are hard-headed. They did not want to listen, because the day before, it was the most beautiful weather situation ever. So ayaw nilang maniwala, no? So sabi nila, "Mayor, pag yung paano yung mga baboy namin, yung mga kalabaw namin, yung mga ganito, yung bahay namin." Sabi ko, importante yung buhay nyo, kasi yung kalabaw nyo, pagdating ni Yolanda, gugulong-gulong lang yan. Yung kotse ko, nakikita nyo yan. Pag yan, tinamaan ng Yolanda, mapupulot na yan doon sa kabilang bayan. Ganon, kalakas. And I was going around my town like crazy, because I thought That was the biggest disaster that will ever hit us. 374 kilometers per hour. Horrific. So, naghanda ho kami. And then, forced evacuation, ginawa ho namin, inaresto namin yung mga tao na ayaw makinig. And sabi namin, sabi ng pulis ko, Mayor, ano ang ita-charge natin? Bakit natin arestuhin? Sabi ko, pag pinatay mo yung tao, homicide. Pag binaril mo yung tao, hindi namatay. Attempted homicide. Pag nagpakamatay yung tao, suicide. I-book nyo for attempted suicide. So gumawa ko kami ng booking na hindi naman namin sigurado. Sabi, Mayor, meron bang ganong charge? Sabi ko, hindi ko alam. Bukas, tingnan natin pagkatapos ng bagyo. But everybody was so happy because in the precinct, in the evacuation center, they were already starting to be fed. And they were happy to be forcibly evacuated. So, dumating na po yung bagyo. And we slept at 5 o'clock in the morning. But the winds were, because we were so tired, so we just fell asleep. And this was a footage of from the evacuation center in our municipal hall. And it's a short footage, no? So this is what happened. These are houses that are still intact. But that's the police precinct. And these are houses. You have a house on the right. At 7 a.m., the wind was starting to be very, very strong. Nadapa na yung mga bahay sa harap. May mga bubong pa. At 7:30, this is what you feel. May puno, may dahon pa yung mga puno. Buo pa yung bahay. Yung mga nakikita niyong lumilipad na parang papel. Yero po yan. And ito na po ang experience namin. And I woke up because I was dreaming. I thought there was somebody jackhammering my house on top. And while I was taking a shower, yung pala, yung bubong ko ay wala na at umuulan. At yung jackhammer pala, yun na pala yung bagyo. When I went out of my room, I was thrown back in. And sobrang lakas po ng hangin. Hindi namin alam kung mabubuhay pa kami. Dahil hindi ko kami makalabas. Dahil pag lumabas ka, ikaw ay itatapon ng hangin. Ganon kalakas ang bagyo. And when it started slowing down, I wanted to pick up stuff. Tayo, wala na akong Javier. Wala na yung bayan natin. I was already in tears because I thought that no one in my town was left after that experience. I went to church right after, and because of the situation that I saw, I had to pray for strength and courage. We saw the town and we thought that we would make assessments, and I told them, just wait because I'm going to rescue our food. Because the food from ABS-CBN was stranded in Matnog and I was going to rescue it. So we cleared the road and we also had an agreement with our dear governor that we will meet up. And you go back to the slide, Mike, please. So we provided initial feeding in our evacuation center, and then we proceeded with our clearing operations from Javier to Palo. It was a 44-hour clearing ordeal, and it was some sort of manic determination fueled by pure adrenaline that kept us going. We forgot to bring food. We were so determined. Sabi namin, along the way, uy, nakalimutan yata natin magdala ng pagkain. because it usually took about 40 minutes from Javier to Tacloban. And I thought that we had food because I have an andox here in Palo and we had an andox in Javier. So sabi ko, madali lang to. Yung pala, our ordeal was going to last for about 44 hours. So we were clearing the road of debris, fallen poles, fallen trees, coconut trees, debris from houses, crumpled houses, and dead bodies. Unknowingly, we showed leadership, which gave people hope, because every time we passed by a town, and by the way, we were fully equipped. We had a generator, and we were working even at nighttime until dawn, and we never stopped because I wanted the food to flow to Javier. Now, unknowingly, here we showed leadership, and I didn't know this. We just wanted to clear the road, and people were starting to realize that meron palang tumutulong na. That someone has initiated a move that will enable relief food to flow. So these are the pictures along the way. This is what we saw, and as we were clearing, this is, you see this? It's an impossible task. And as we were clearing the road, I noticed that there were people behind me, and this is my driver who lost. He was crying along the way because he lost 19 of his family members. And this is another picture that we saw. This is a dead person whose barangay captain wanted me to lift him up. I said, I have to clear the road. Please do that. That's your job. I have other more important things because we have to save our people. Along the way, this is what you see. We were clearing a sea of debris like Moses. And we estimated about 10,000 people behind us. We were trying, they were so anxious to find out whether their relatives in Tacloban were dead or alive. And likewise, galing sa Tacloban, ganun din, papasok dito. We were like Moses clearing a sea of debris. Unknowingly, we relieved thousands of people from their anxiety, not knowing whether their relatives or family members were dead or alive. This is what you see. And we did not have food. My goodness. How can you eat when you see all this debris and dead bodies anyway? So this is, go ahead, Mike. And see, we had to control the crowd. And those are two ambulances. Can you go back? One was giving birth, and the other one was dying. So the person giving birth was from my town, the woman, and I told her, look, as I see this, you have to give birth. You don't need any cesarean. You have to force yourself to give birth. Hindi pwedeng cesarean, walang mangyayari dahil palagay ko, sira ang ospital. Manganak ka na ngayon. Nanganak. We were able to save the child, and I asked her, I told her, please, that is a girl, don't name her Yolanda. This is what you see. And this is the challenge. This is right in the middle of the road. Behind that are dead bodies. Before that are dead bodies. How do you clear this? With sheer determination, we had all this equipment that we brought with us. And fortunately, when we went to Tanawan, somebody gave us a box of biscuits, which I distributed to all my people evenly, without any prejudice. This is Tanawan. They were digging the burial site for all those, because they were already, they wanted to have to bury all this. This is what we found on the road. And there is a church in here, and I asked the people there, how many bodies have you retrieved? They said close to 500, Mayor, and then there are more coming, and I saw them every minute. There will be people carrying dead bodies, dumping them in I think this church is San Joaquin. And this is what happened. And this one, look at this guy. He said, I said, why did you steal that? He says, no, I did not steal this. This is the looting portion. And I went to Tacloban, and I met with the president. And when I told him what I experienced, this is how he held his head. Because it was going to be a very, very big job for everybody. We were all wet. He was there on Sunday. And I was very appreciative because at least his presence there gave us really a big amount of hope. This is what happened. We cleared Javier up to Palo. Next. Okay, so we recovered, we distributed, and these are the distribution. Go ahead, faster. We got organized so that we were able to give 28 rounds of relief every 3 days. People would have relief goods good for 3 days. So our relief operations lasted for 3 months. So we all had this donation, and now we had rehabilitation. I have one more minute. Excuse me. I will just make this fast. Time's up. Thank you. Hold on. So these are the schools that they donated. Very strong. That school is rated at 500 kilometers per hour. Donated by FF Cruz. Go ahead. And then we're building our schools. There's housing now. See the housing? You want to transfer to Javier? We have very nice housing. We are building back better, and we're giving livelihood. Next. I will just finish the slides, okay? These are homes from China, our rural health. We have a vocational school now. We're planting vegetables, livelihood projects. Go ahead. We have now concrete hollow blocks, and we call it Build Back Better Hollow Blocks. See? We have boats that we supply to the fishermen. We trained our people immediately. So now they can do fiberglass boats. That I think that is familiar with you, Madam Reza. We make this in Javier. See? Tinutulungan ho namin yung mga tao namin karoon ng hanap buhay. And thanks to you. And we also planted vegetables all over, and lessons learned. Preparedness, nothing can substitute for preparedness. Provisions of typhoon-proof stockroom and evacuation centers, close coordination with national agencies and the provincial government, close monitoring of impending disaster, food, water, fuel, power, communication, medicines, data and distribution mechanisms, equipment, rescue team, clearing team, medical team, mobility and transportation. The national government, this is very important, must always be ready to augment the efforts of the first responders, which is the local government. As disaster closes in, national government likewise should also close in and monitor us. And as disaster nears, the preparedness of the LGUs must be in sync with the efforts of the national agencies to help augment the needs of the first responders, preparedness, rescue, relief, and rehabilitation. Where there is disaster, there is opportunity. By the way, we don't cry over spilled milk. It is not in our character as leaders. If there is something like this, we have to rise and show our people that there is hope. That we cannot just be desperate, no? So, when you're left with nothing, there's nowhere else to go but up, di ba? Kaya po, mabuhay ang mga na-disaster dahil tayo po ay aasenso. Maraming salamat po. Bangon Javier, bangon Leyte.